Today we're going to take a look at another Smith & Wesson, another 44 Magnum. This one is the 629-6. This particular one was manufactured in the year 2007. It's stainless steel, has a capacity of 6 rounds, 44 Magnum, and of course will also shoot the 44 Special. This comes with Hogue rubberized grips. You'll know from watching my videos, I tend to be a wood grip kind of guy. We'll see how long these last on this particular firearm. But very pleased with the condition this is for being a firearm, which at this point is about 12 years old. I did pick this up used, as is mostly my custom. And we'll talk about this relative to its older brother, the Smith & Wesson Model 29-2. We'll point out some differences, pin versus recessed, hammer mounted versus frame mounted firing pin, things like that. And yeah, they don't make them like they used to, but they still make them really well. Hope you enjoy this video. Stay tuned and enjoy. Drake 63 here today. I'm going to do another unboxing video, and as you might have seen from the intros, no surprises here. We've got a nice shiny Smith & Wesson revolver inside, and what we're going to be beholding here is the Smith & Wesson Model 629-6. This one was born in the year 2007. There are two versions of this sense, but this is the first year that this particular firearm had the much vaunted, the much dreaded, the much whatever we want to call it, internal lock, better known as the Hillary hole. Yuck, just hate saying that. Not a big fan of these, but at the same point in time, it's not enough to keep me from buying a quality firearm. And I consider this, based on everything I know about this particular 44 Magnum, to be a quality firearm. This is a 4-inch barrel. It is a one-piece barrel, so this was before they went to the shrouded barrel concept. It has a adjustable rear sight. It's got an illuminated front sight, and this particular one comes with these rubberized grips, which if you watch my videos, you know I'm not a big fan of the rubberized grips. And but this one happens to be an end frame, just like its big brother over there, the 29, except where this guy has a square butt, this has a round butt. What does that mean? That means that looking at the assortment of Smith & Wesson stocks I have over here, some for end frame, these two guys on the right, that none of them are going to fit because they're not the right stocks. So if I want to replace these, I'm going to have to go out and spend some money and keep the aftermarket folks in business. I'm not so certain I'm going to do that. And the reason is, you know, we want to fire this thing and kind of get used to it. Okay, whereas this 629... you know, I most definitely wanted to have a classic look with this firearm. Did I just call that a 629? No. Okay. Whereas this model 29-2, I want to keep with that classic look. I want the classic style stocks and things of that nature. And you've seen, I've well documented all the different things I've done with this firearm to get it in this condition. Whereas I want to keep that one in an authentic look, this is going to be more of a workhorse, and I want it to be practical. I want it to be something that that I can comfortably shoot powerful 44 Magnum loads with, and not have it hurt my hand, not have it be a nuisance at the range. The main reason I wanted to get a 4-inch 44 Magnum was just because of the mobility of it. And I do not have designs on carrying this thing, like as a concealed carry, but certainly if I'm out in the woods, if I'm out doing my thing outside, or if I'm in an area where there might be some kind of dangerous game, something of that nature, I'm going to want to have a .44 Magnum by my side. There's nothing in North America that this won't defend me against, and hopefully I'll never have to find out. But this is a great firearm caliber. I love the .44 Magnum. I love the Smith & Wesson .44 Magnums, and for the end frame, which I always felt and commented on my Model 28 videos that I felt it was too much gun for the .357 Magnum, too much weight. It's just perfect for these 44s. And there's going to be some Ruger guys chime in and say, yeah, but these can't handle the full house loads. Oh yeah, they can. They can handle the full house loads I'm going to shoot. I'm not going to hand load, you know, some crazy pushing it to the limit kind of load in the firearms. I'm going to use typically commercially available stuff, or if I do hand load, it's going to be stuff that's reasonable, you know, but I don't need to get 2,000 feet per second out of a 300 grain bullet or anything crazy like that. But we're going to dive a little bit deeper into this firearm today, just talk about it a little bit, and we'll do a subsequent shooting video where we'll shoot both of these and we'll give you my impressions. Here's a brief overview of the differences from version to version with the dashes. Take a look at this, or go to Wikipedia and take a closer look. First thing I want to point out is this weighs 2 pounds, 10 ounces. Okay, and that's unloaded. 2 pounds, 10 ounces. Okay, so if we want to compare that to the Model 29 with a couple more inches of barrel, we'll see that that weighs 2 pounds, 14, almost 2 pounds, 15 ounces. Okay, well, what does that mean in terms of difference in weight? Well, you know, this is 5 ounces, or roughly a third of a pound heavier. You don't feel it because it's distributed well, and so forth and so on. But this is, I don't consider this a heavy firearm at all. I don't consider it having recoil at all, and there's people that will. But this guy's a little bit lighter, like I said, coming in 2 pounds, 10 ounces. Okay, so roughly, what is that? That's 16 ounces a pound, so that's 42 ounces. Okay. The other thing is when we did a measurement on cylinder to forcing cone gap on this, it was 8 1/1000ths, which is well within spec. This one seals up a little bit tighter, and we see that this is at 4 1/1000ths, and it has absolutely no cylinder end shake whatsoever. It locks up tighter than this older Smith. They both get the job done. I think too much is made over how tight something locks up and so forth and so on. What really matters is when you shoot it, does it spray lead? Is it accurate? Things of that nature, and that's what I look for the most. And we know that this one is as accurate as can be, and have proven that to be the case. And this one right here has yet to prove the case. But just looking at a couple things right off the bat, looking at the fact that it's got the painted rear sights, which are in good shape. You can see it presents a nice picture looking down the barrel. Okay. In single action, very, very light. Is it as light as what we have with the 29? No, that's had some work done on it, I believe, over time. And in double action, you know you're pulling the trigger here. I wouldn't say it's stiff, but it's definitely a stiffer affair. But the real question is, you know, does it do what it's supposed to do? Does it lock up? Does it bind? And no, as long as you let that trigger reset, this works out just dandy. A couple other things we like to look for. What does the forcing cone look like? It's nice and concentric. I don't see erosion or cracking. Looking up into the top here, we don't see excessive what's called flame cutting, where the blast is cutting into your top strap, and you can see that this is pre-drilled if you want to put some kind of a scope on it, something of that nature. But you can see that she shines up very nice. When I got her, she had that kind of dull, never been cleaned look, and we took care of that. Also, we'll mention here that this is a frame mounted firing pin. What does that mean? That means it's not on the hammer. It's built into the frame. The hammer comes into contact with it, and that forces the firing pin forward. So if you compare that to older model Smith & Wesson, such as this one right here, the firing pin is mounted on the hammer itself. I don't really have a preference other than aesthetically. I like it mounted on the hammer. I don't think it makes a difference in performance. I've yet to hear an explanation that says that it would. You can see it's got this one's got a pretty good sized scratch here on the frame, which is nothing more than aesthetic. I did polish this up with some flits. And overall, a nice looking firearm, for sure. Nice looking firearm. Speaking about the lockup, you can see without anything being done to it that you have a little bit of rotational play here, and no end shake. In other words, the cylinder doesn't move back and forth at all in that dimension. Now with a Smith, if you pull the hammer back, you depress the trigger and release that hammer, you'll see that it locks up very nice and tightly. And there's no evidence that there's been lead splashing off the forcing cone or anything like that. So, you know, all in all, I'd have to say that this seems like a nice quality firearm. A nice big pronounced front sight, like I said, my old eyes love that. And altogether, we'll see if it's sighted in or not, or what we'll need to do. But I definitely did purchase this from somebody that didn't look to have cleaned it much. I don't think they necessarily shot it much. But like I said, you know, this is a less desirable version of this firearm than some of the earlier ones that didn't have this hole right here. I've talked to Smith & Wesson about that internal lock, and they're just not going to get rid of it. It's not going to happen. So with that being said, would I rather go get a Ruger? In my personal opinion, no, guys, I just wouldn't. I've owned Ruger 44s. I don't find them to be very comfortable to shoot. I definitely don't like the triggers, and the best thing that people seem to say about them is, oh, you know, they're built like a tank. Well, you know, if I need a tank, I guess I'll get one. If I need a sleek, fine functioning, smooth shooting firearm, I'm more apt to get a Smith & Wesson. That's just me, and hopefully not rubbing anybody the wrong way, but that's my opinion. If you watch my channel, you know I'm a Smith & Wesson guy. Anyway, that's just a brief rundown of the firearm today. Wanted to show it to you. We're excited to have this. We are going to get some shooting done here in a few days and get that video put up for you. And as always, I thank you for joining me. This is Dr. Drake 63 saying so long.